He's back! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Yes! We are learning that deadly attack started with a dispute over a sandwich order.
Why'd you stab him? Why'd you stab him? What happened?
Why did you stab the postal worker?
Was it over a sandwich?
Was it over a sandwich?
This is the story of Jaya Cruz, a 24-year-old transgender woman who fatally stabbed a man during a confrontation that began over something as trivial as a spot in line to order food.
The 24-year-old is accused of stabbing and killing Ray Hodge, who lives here in Mott Haven, back in January.
On January 2, 2025, Cruz stabbed and killed Ray Hodge, a 36-year-old USPS postal worker, after a heated argument inside a Harlem deli escalated out of control. Jaya Cruz, born in the year 2000, was raised in Harlem, New York City. She lived on West 118th Street, a neighborhood rich in history, known for its cultural vibrancy and close-knit sense of community. Harlem has long stood as a symbol of artistic, musical, and social influence, yet it has also struggled with ongoing challenges such as poverty, crime, and systemic inequality. Cruz's upbringing reflected these conflicting forces. Standing at an imposing 6 feet 5 inches tall, Jaya was a striking figure. Impossible to overlook whether she was walking through the neighborhood or interacting with locals. Her height alone made her presence memorable. But despite Harlem's strong sense of unity and culture, Jaya's early life was far from easy. She faced numerous personal hardships and lived through periods of instability, which led to multiple encounters with law enforcement throughout her youth and into early adulthood. By the time she turned 24, Cruz had already been arrested 5 times. These run-ins with the law painted a picture of a young woman locked in a difficult cycle, struggling with internal battles, unresolved trauma, and behavioral patterns that kept bringing her into conflict with others. One particularly troubling incident happened in July 2020, in Midtown West, Manhattan. During that episode, Jaya reportedly confronted another individual while holding an open box cutter, shouting, "I'm going to cut him." Her aggressive outburst and threatening behavior became part of a growing pattern. There is even video footage of her at another incident, where she appears visibly disrespectful and disruptive toward everyone present at the scene. When police arrived at the scene of an earlier incident involving Jaya Cruz, they issued clear commands for her to get on the ground. However, Jaya refused to comply with the officers' orders, resulting in an additional charge of resisting arrest. Shockingly, just 2 weeks after that arrest, Jaya once again found herself in serious legal trouble, this time for allegedly participating in an armed robbery. According to reports, a knife was used during the commission of the crime. The involvement of a weapon not only intensified the severity of the offense but also served as yet another example of Jaya's troubling association with violence. The back-to-back nature of these incidents suggested more than just poor decision-making. It pointed toward deep-rooted behavioral struggles and possibly unaddressed mental health issues that had gone unchecked for far too long. Despite multiple encounters with the criminal justice system, it appeared that very little meaningful intervention had taken place. The repeated arrests and short-term consequences did little to alter the trajectory of Jaya's life. Rather than providing her with rehabilitation, counseling, or support systems that could address underlying issues, the justice system's responses seemed to revolve more around containment than correction. This failure left Jaya drifting toward more serious consequences, an eventual path that would culminate in a tragic, irreversible act of violence. Interestingly, despite her numerous appearances in police records and local headlines, very little is publicly known about Jaya Cruz's personal life. Information regarding her family background, friendships, or romantic relationships remains largely absent from news articles and public databases. It's unclear whether she had close bonds with anyone or if she navigated life largely on her own, further adding to the mystery and tragedy of her story. Everything came to a head on January 2, 2025 in Harlem, approximately 2:30 p.m., when Jaya Cruz walked into Joe's Grocery, a small neighborhood deli located at 168 Lenox Avenue. By the way, if you like the way we present these stories or if true crime cases are your kind of thing, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel for more stories for you. Inside the deli that day was Ray Hodge, a 36-year-old postal worker who had stopped in during his shift to grab a quick lunch. Ray, a father of 2 young children, was known in his community and workplace as a dedicated employee and a kind, easygoing person. His stop at the deli was routine, something he likely did dozens of times before. Tragically, this time would be different. According to witness accounts, A disagreement began between Jaya and Ray over something as minor as who was next in line to order food. In the hustle and bustle of a crowded deli, such disputes are not unusual. But this one escalated far more rapidly and dangerously than anyone could have anticipated. Witnesses reported that Jaya became visibly agitated and began shouting at Ray. In a moment of hostility, she spat in his face, a deeply disrespectful act that quickly transformed a verbal altercation into a physical threat. Then, in a horrifying escalation, Jaya reached into her belongings and pulled out a small steak knife. Without hesitation, she lunged at Ray, stabbing him repeatedly in the chest, neck, and arms. The attack was swift, violent, and devastating. Customers and workers in the deli watched in shock and fear as Ray collapsed to the floor, critically wounded. The entire incident unfolded in mere seconds, but its impact would reverberate through families, communities, and headlines for weeks to come. What began as an everyday stop for lunch turned into a nightmare, one that would leave 2 families shattered, a community outraged, and a city asking how a seemingly minor dispute could turn so fatally violent.
Witnesses say the stabbing inside the deli started with a dispute over who was next in line.
Emergency services were immediately dispatched following the brutal stabbing of Ray Hodge. As soon as the 911 call came in, first responders rushed to Joe's Grocery in Harlem, where Ray lay bleeding on the floor. Paramedics worked quickly to stabilize him and transported him to Harlem Hospital, just minutes away. Despite their best efforts, the injuries he sustained were far too severe. Not long after his arrival at the hospital, Ray was pronounced dead. The news devastated those who had witnessed the attack, including deli employees, other customers, and passers-by who had gathered outside, trying to understand what had just happened. A minor disagreement over something as trivial as a place in line had suddenly turned into a tragedy. The neighborhood, already familiar with hardship but fiercely protective of its own, was left stunned. A simple lunch break had ended in the loss of a father, a coworker, and a friend. For the people who knew Ray, and even for those who didn't, the senselessness of it all was impossible to grasp. One moment he was there, alive, working, living his day, and the next he was gone. Meanwhile, the person responsible for the violence, 24-year-old Jaya Cruz, fled the scene immediately after the stabbing. Panic and chaos followed in her wake, but she disappeared before police could arrive. The NYPD wasted no time. Given the severity of the crime and Jaya's known presence in the Harlem area, authorities launched a swift and focused manhunt. Officers canvassed the neighborhood, asked residents for information, and monitored known locations where Jaya had previously been seen. Her history with law enforcement made it clear that she was not a stranger to the system, and police were determined to locate her before she could escape or harm anyone else. Later that same evening, their efforts paid off. Police found Jaya at her apartment on West 118th Street, the very block she had grown up on. This time there was no struggle. Unlike some of her prior confrontations with officers, she did not resist arrest. The moment was heavy. Her quiet surrender stood in stark contrast to the violent, impulsive act she had committed just hours earlier. Given Jaya's troubling criminal history, which included several previous arrests involving weapons and aggressive behavior, authorities approached the case with grave seriousness. This was not viewed as an isolated outburst. For investigators, it was part of a broader pattern. A woman with a history of instability and violent altercations who had now taken a life.
And new tonight, the person accused of stabbing a U.S. postal worker to death inside of a Harlem deli takes a plea deal.
Jaya was taken into custody and charged with second-degree murder and first-degree manslaughter. These charges reflected not only the brutality of her actions that day but also her past conduct, which had raised red flags long before the fatal stabbing occurred.
A plea deal is in place for the woman accused of fatally stabbing a postal worker inside a Harlem deli. 24-year-old Jaya Cruz pleaded guilty to first-degree manslaughter today for the January stabbing of 36-year-old Ray Hodge.
The story quickly made headlines and drew strong reactions from the community. Some mourned the loss of Ray Hodge and questioned why someone with such a troubling history had been free to commit such a crime. Others looked at Jaya's life with a mixture of anger and sadness, wondering how many missed opportunities there had been to intervene before things reached this point. Janice Yu, reporting live from Harlem, conveyed the heavy atmosphere that had settled over there. Police records indicate that Cruz has a history with law enforcement, including at least 2 prior arrests, both involving knives. Friends and neighbors came together, still in shock, to pay tribute to Ray's life. "I watched him grow up," one friend shared, his voice heavy with sorrow. "He went from stage to stage in life, always trying to better himself. That's all you can ask from someone. This friend had known Ray since their days growing up together in the Bronx. He spoke with affection and pride, describing Ray as someone deeply rooted in family and community. Ray was known for being a dedicated father, taking his children to school every morning, and a loving son who looked after his mother. He loved sports and music, the simple joys that many could relate to. His death, sudden and senseless, left his friends at a loss.
You know, we all love them in the community. It's a tragic loss. We're going to celebrate him, and we're going to keep the spirit alive. Honorable, stand up. Now, I mean, integrity, morals, principles. He was one of the good young boys we had out here, you heard?
He stood for something, another friend said. Integrity, morals, principles. Ray was one of the good ones. The swift arrest of Jaya Cruz brought a small but much-needed sense of relief to a Harlem community still reeling from the shock and horror of the violence that had erupted just hours earlier. The brutal, unprovoked attack had left many residents shaken, especially those who had witnessed it firsthand or knew the victim, Ray Hodge, a beloved postal worker and father. In a neighborhood already facing its share of struggles, the stabbing struck a painful nerve. Following the arrest, the New York City Police Department, NYPD, launched a comprehensive investigation into the incident, working closely with the United States Postal Inspection Service, given that the victim, Ray, was a federal employee. Together, the two agencies approached the case with the seriousness and urgency it demanded. Investigators quickly sealed off the crime scene at Joe's Grocery and began collecting physical evidence. Among the most critical pieces was the weapon itself, a small steak knife used in the stabbing. It was found discarded near a pool of blood just outside the deli, a grim and sobering reminder of how quickly things had turned violent. In addition to the physical evidence, detectives relied heavily on eyewitness accounts. Multiple deli patrons had been present during the incident and were able to recount the argument between Jaya and Ray. Their statements helped investigators piece together a clear timeline of events, from the initial disagreement over who was next in line to the shocking moment when Jaya pulled out the knife and began stabbing. Several described the argument as tense but seemingly manageable, right up until it turned deadly. Their testimony painted a picture of a volatile confrontation that escalated far too quickly for anyone to intervene. Surveillance footage from the deli security cameras further supported the witness reports. The video captured key moments of the altercation, including the verbal exchange, the physical aggression, and the final attack. This footage became a crucial part of the prosecution's case, offering undeniable visual evidence of the crime as it unfolded. As the investigation deepened, authorities also took a closer look at Jaya Cruz's background. What they found only added to their concerns. Her criminal history revealed a disturbing pattern of behavior. Multiple arrests, several involving weapons, and frequent violent outbursts. For prosecutors, this wasn't just an isolated act of rage. It was part of a consistent and escalating pattern of violence. They were determined to show that Jaya's actions on January 2nd weren't entirely unpredictable. They were the culmination of a history that had been largely overlooked or ineffectively addressed. The New York City Anti-Violence Project, a group that advocates for marginalized communities, especially LGBTQ+ individuals, released a public statement on Facebook. They described Jaya Cruz as a transgender woman of color and a lifelong New Yorker, someone who had endured repeated instances of hate violence and public harassment throughout the city. Over the summer, a disturbing video circulated on social media, showing Jaya being violently attacked in broad daylight.
He banged! He banged! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Yeah, shit! Jay Washington! Oh, shit! Hey, yo, don't kill that nigga, bro! Don't kill that nigga, bro! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Yo, they just worked that nigga, man! That nigga gonna tell. He had to do something fucked up. That nigga gonna tell. You gonna tell. You should have left them niggas alone, bro. Why would you go back? You should have left them niggas alone, bro. Well, she got balls, right? I mean, he got balls, I guess. I don't know. You got balls. You don't have no pussy. Woman? I ain't no woman. I ain't no woman.
The footage drew outrage from some corners of the internet but was also met with silence by many. A silence that, according to advocates, spoke volumes about society's selective empathy. In the week that followed, the incident became a media flashpoint. News outlets reported aggressively, but not always responsibly. Jaya was repeatedly misgendered and ridiculed. Some coverage seemed less interested in justice and more in spectacle, as layers of transmisogyny, racism, and sensationalism distorted public understanding of what happened. The Anti-Violence Project condemned this coverage, calling it a flagrant display of cis supremacy, misogynoir, and transmisogyny. They acknowledged the gravity of the crime, stating that Jaya is now facing serious legal consequences. But they also stressed that she deserves basic human rights while incarcerated, including safety while in Rikers and access to bail. Still, not everyone saw Jaya as a victim of circumstance. Among the comments under the organization's post, a community member named Yakisha Johnson voiced a starkly different perspective. She pointed out that Jaya had a history of violent behavior, including prior arrests involving knife attacks. Referencing an account from the deli worker on the day of the incident, Yakisha said Jaya had accused Ray of skipping ahead of her in line. Things escalated quickly. Jaya allegedly spat in his face, prompting Ray to throw a bottle of lemon juice at her in response. That's when Jaya reportedly pulled out a knife and stabbed him multiple times. As the legal proceedings move forward, so too does a broader conversation about justice, identity, and the often unseen lives of those on society's margins. This case also highlighted broader systemic failures. Despite Jaya's repeated run-ins with the law, little had been done in terms of intervention, support, or mental health treatment. Opportunities to redirect her path had come and gone, and now the consequences were tragically irreversible. On January 3, 2025, just one day after the fatal stabbing, Jaya Cruz was arraigned in a New York City courtroom. The charges brought against her included second-degree murder and first-degree manslaughter. During the hearing, the prosecution laid out their argument, focusing not only on the events of the previous day but also on Jaya's criminal past. They emphasized her history of violent behavior and the repeated incidents involving weapons, asserting that she posed a significant and ongoing threat to public safety. The prosecution requested that Jaya be held without bail, arguing that her past and the severity of the current charges made her a danger to the community and a potential flight risk. The presiding judge agreed. Citing the disturbing nature of the crime and her extensive criminal record, the judge ordered that Jaya be remanded into custody, with no option for release while she awaited trial. A message was sent to Jaya's public defender for comment, but no public statement was made at the time.
Jaya Cruz pled guilty to first-degree manslaughter and in turn was promised to 15 years in prison with 5 years of supervised release. The 24-year-old is accused of stabbing and killing Ray Hodge, who lives here in Mott Haven, back in January. According to witnesses, the two were inside a deli on Lenox Avenue in Harlem when an argument broke out over who was first in line to order. Hodge was stabbed 5 times in the chest, neck, and arm. The 36-year-old was a U.S. postal worker and was on his lunch break at the time of the attack.
The arraignment marked the beginning of what was certain to become a high-profile and emotionally draining legal battle. One that would play out in courtrooms, news headlines, and community conversations for weeks, if not months, to come. Even though Ray Hodge's life was tragically cut short, his memory lives on. Those who knew him continue to speak of his kindness, his dedication to his work, and the love he had for his children. His death is a painful reminder of how fragile life can be, and how quickly things can turn tragic when violence enters the picture. This is a reminder, a mourner said.
So we got to cherish the people that we love, the minute in the moment we have them.
That we never know what tomorrow will bring. So we have to cherish the people we love while we still have them. And so, candles flicker in Harlem, not just for the man they lost, but for the message his death leaves behind. Life is fragile, and even in the most ordinary moments, tragedy can strike without warning. Our deepest condolences go out to Ray's family, his friends, and everyone affected by this senseless act. May his soul continue to rest in peace. In October 2019, a bright and beautiful young woman lost her life in a heartbreaking and deeply unsettling way. At just 24 years old, she had dreams, ambition, and a promising future. She was a cosmetologist, admired for both her beauty and her vibrant personality, with a growing presence on social media that inspired many. But behind her smile was a tragic ending no one could have imagined. She had gone out on what seemed like a casual romantic date with someone she thought she could trust, a man she had been getting to know. According to reports, that trust was shattered when he allegedly spiked her drink with a sedative. His cruel intent, it's believed, was to render her helpless in order to take advantage of her. But the drugs had a far more devastating effect. Na's body reacted severely to the substance, and she went into cardiac arrest. What makes this even more painful is that she didn't receive the medical help she needed in time. Her brain was deprived of oxygen for too long, and by the time help arrived, it was too late. She was declared brain dead shortly after, and the world lost a vibrant soul who deserved so much more. Her death sent shockwaves through the Ghanaian community and among her followers online. People were heartbroken and outraged. How could this happen to someone so full of life? In the wake of her passing, her family launched a GoFundMe campaign to cover her funeral costs and outstanding bills, a heartbreaking task no family should ever have to face for someone so young. Even now, the identity of the man involved has not been publicly revealed, and no arrests or charges have been confirmed. That silence adds another layer of pain to this tragedy. Na Dromer's story is a powerful and painful reminder of how important it is to prioritize safety, especially when meeting new people. It's a wake-up call about the dangers of drug-facilitated crimes and how trust can be exploited in the most horrifying ways. This isn't just a crime story, it's a real story about a real person whose life was stolen. She was someone's daughter, someone's friend, someone with dreams and love to give. Her story deserves to be told, and her memory deserves justice. This heartbreaking story takes us to Cincinnati, Ohio, a vibrant city nestled in the southwestern corner of the state. With over 300,000 residents, Cincinnati is Ohio's third-largest city and is rich with history and culture. It's widely recognized for its strong German heritage, its famous chili, and for being the birthplace of professional baseball. But behind the history and charm of this city, a tragic story unfolded, one that would shake a community and leave many in mourning. The life of Na Dromer Ajay, known to loved ones as Nene. Born on March 28, 1995, Na Dromer Ajay, lovingly called Nene or Awofedua by her family and friends, was a young woman of Ghanaian descent. She lived in the United States with her parents, who were based in Cincinnati. Her father, Pastor Glitter Soa Ajay, was a respected figure in their community, and together the family built their life in this Midwestern city. Nene was more than just a daughter. She was a radiant soul whose presence lit up every room. She was outgoing, energetic, full of laughter, and always ready to spread joy. She had a deep passion for beauty and fashion. As a licensed hairstylist, she owned a salon called the Hoof Styles, where she transformed clients with her skilled hands and creative vision. Her salon and work were often showcased on her social media, where she built a loyal following. By the way, if you like the way we present these stories or if true crime cases are your kind of thing, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel for more stories for you. Beyond hairstyling, Nene had also trained as a pharmacy technician, a testament to her ambition and willingness to work hard for her goals. She was a go-getter, someone who wore multiple hats with pride. She was also stunning, not just in appearance but in spirit. Occasionally, she modeled for her own brand and for others who admired her look. Her beauty drew a lot of attention both online and in real life. As many women know, being in the spotlight like that brings admiration, but sometimes it also invites the wrong kind of attention. Nene embraced life wholeheartedly. She laughed loud, loved deeply, and made lasting memories with everyone around her. She was the type of person people didn't forget. A daughter, a friend, a young woman with big dreams and a bright future. And that's what makes what happened to her so devastating. This story is one that deserves to be told, not just to honor the memory of a beautiful soul, but to remind us all to be cautious when we're out in the world, especially with people we don't know well. Nadroma Ajay, fondly known as Nene, was reportedly invited out on a date by a young man who was trying to pursue her romantically. His identity remains unknown to this day, and sadly, so does much of the truth about what happened next. What we do know, though, paints a heartbreaking picture. During what should have been a normal night out, this man allegedly laced Nene's drink with a sedative, not to harm her, at least not directly, but with the predatory intent of taking advantage of her once she was unconscious. But things went terribly wrong. The drug proved too powerful for Nene's body to handle. She went into cardiac arrest and collapsed. Her close friend Lily shared the devastating details publicly, helping to shed light on what might have happened. In an emotional post, she wrote, "It is with great sorrow that we announce to you that the eldest daughter of Senior Pastor Glitter Soa and First Lady Gloria, Nadroma Ajay, has passed away and gone to be with the Lord. Nene went out Friday evening to meet a friend. This friend allegedly put some sort of sedative into her drink, which caused her to go into cardiac arrest. There was a delay in getting her adequate medical care, and it's unknown how long her brain went without oxygen. As a result, all brain activity ceased. Despite the prayers, love, and hope poured out by her family, friends, and church community, Nene never recovered. Doctors and nurses did everything they could, but it was too late. Her body could not come back from the damage done. She passed away surrounded by heartbreak and unanswered questions. As of now, there's no public information on what happened to the man who drugged her. No charges have been confirmed. No name has been released. That silence has only deepened the grief. What makes this even more painful is how unexpected it all was. Friends online began noticing her absence from social media. Nene had always been active, always posting, always sharing light and laughter. Then the tributes started to appear in the comments under her photos. R.I.P. One friend wrote, "Just found out my friend is actually dead. Died from going on a date with a guy who had her drink spiked. She died of cardiac arrest because her heart couldn't take it, and right now my heart can't take it either." Another friend added, "I met her on Instagram a couple years ago. She was always posting, so when she went quiet for months, I thought maybe she just needed a break. Then I checked the comments. It was true. She was gone. She was so sweet." The sadness of this story lies not just in the tragic death of a young woman, but in the sheer senselessness of it. Nene was kind, joyful, full of life, and she didn't deserve this. No one does. Her memory still lives on in the hearts of those who loved her. Family, friends, clients, and even strangers who were touched by her presence online. This story is a call to be vigilant, especially in today's world where even a night out can turn deadly. It reminds us to look out for one another, to never take safety for granted, and to speak out when something feels wrong. Nene's life may have been cut short, but her legacy, her light, will never be forgotten. It is with broken hearts and profound sorrow that we announce the passing of our beloved daughter, sister, and friend, Nadroma Ajay, fondly known by many as Nini or Awofejua. She was a shining light in the lives of everyone who knew her, a joyful, vibrant, and kind-hearted soul whose smile could brighten any room. Na's life was tragically cut short under deeply heartbreaking circumstances, and while the pain of her absence is overwhelming, we take comfort in the belief that she is now resting peacefully in the arms of the Lord. She fought with incredible strength during her final moments, surrounded by the prayers and love of her family, friends, and community. Despite the efforts of medical professionals and the outpouring of hope from so many who loved her, Na could not recover from the trauma she endured. Her passing has left a void in all our lives, a silence that echoes in our hearts every single day. As her family begins the difficult task of planning her funeral and final farewell, a GoFundMe campaign has been launched to help cover the funeral expenses and address some of the outstanding medical bills and other costs associated with her sudden departure. Every contribution, no matter how small, is a gift of love and support during this incredibly difficult time. If you feel moved to help, your donation will be deeply appreciated and will go directly to supporting Na's family through their loss. You can find the link to the GoFundMe in the description or pinned comment. This tragedy has not only shaken Na's family and close friends, it has rippled across the entire community. Na touched the lives of many, both in person and online. She was an inspiration to young women, an example of hard work and self-confidence, and a true embodiment of grace and warmth. As we grieve her loss, we also stand together in hope for justice. We hope that the person responsible for her death is held accountable, and that no other family has to suffer the same pain. Justice must be served, not only for Na but for every young woman whose life has been stolen through manipulation, violence, or neglect. To everyone watching, we offer this message from the depths of our hearts. Please be cautious. If you're meeting someone new, take every precaution. Share your location, let someone close to you know where you are, and trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. No one deserves what happened to Na. To her friends, her clients, her church community, and the many people who followed her journey online, thank you for the love you've shown her over the years. Your prayers, kind words, and unwavering support mean more than you know. Let us all honor Na Dromer Ajay by remembering her not only for how she died, but for how she lived, joyfully, beautifully, and fearlessly. May her gentle soul continue to rest in perfect peace. Please stay safe, stay vigilant, and continue to look out for one another. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Truth in Crimes. We truly appreciate you taking the time to watch and explore this heartbreaking case with us. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share your opinions in the comments below because your perspective matters. Our mission is to deliver accurate, well-researched, and compelling true crime stories, always based on credible sources. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and get ready for another gripping story coming your way soon.